We got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, we talk about it all the time. Most everybody talks about it all the time. Why are we so divided as a country? Why are we? And what do we do about that? What do we do about the divide? How do we help, hello TikTok, how do we help heal the divide? I'm going to assume this Tuesday morning that most every American believes we're too divided in this country. Most every American believes we're too polarized, we're too tribal. Most every American believes we're dangerously divided. Not every American, but most every American. I'm going to assume, for the sake of the next 20 minutes, that most every American wants the United States of America to stay together. I know not everybody wants us to stay together. There was a time not too long ago where I really questioned, should we stay together? Does it make the most sense to stay together? Like America's a married couple, not all married couples, hello TikTok, not all married couples stay together. But I'm going to believe that most Americans want to keep this experiment together. Most Americans don't like the fact that we're so divided, that we're at each other's throats, right? The left and the right. Every day it's like this. I think most Americans would like that to be abated a little bit. Not so much like this every single day. I think it would be helpful to look at a time really recently when America was completely united. Let's look at a case study in recent times of when every American was on the same page. We were all united. We all agreed on one thing. We don't have to go that far back. We don't have to go back to 9/11, right? The day after we were hit by evil terrorists, and all Americans, damn near all Americans, came together united to go after that evil that hit us. We don't need to go that far back to remember a time almost 4 years ago, when the entire country was unified. The day after January 6th. 2 days after January 6th. 3 days after January 6th. 4, 5, maybe 6 days, maybe almost for a full week after January 6th, this entire country was unified. This entire country felt the exact same way about what just happened. And don't worry, MAGA, I'm not doing a show today on January 6th. I'm making a point. I'm making a point at how we've become so divided and what we need to do to get over this divide. And to do that, let's everybody go back to January 6th. Even you, MAGA, everybody listening to me on MAGA right now, even you, everybody on January 6th the evening of January 6th, and for a day or two or three or four after January 6th, every single American felt the same way. We were united. Every single American said, that's wrong. Oh my God. Oh my God, what just happened? That's wrong. That's way, way too far. That cannot be. Every American felt that way. Even the most hardened Trump supporters felt that way. We all watched what happened January 6th, and in one united, unified cry, the entire country said no. Oh my God, that's wrong. This has gone too far. Everybody felt that way. I was on conservative talk radio at the time. I was on right-wing talk radio at the time. I was talking to Trump supporters at the time. Every single Trump supporter, for a day or two or three, every single Trump supporter, for a few days after January 6th, said, oh my God, Joe, this is horrible. Every single Trump supporter that I engaged with for a few days after January 6th, they all said, every single one, they were all afraid. They were all like shocked. They were all sad. They were all angry about what happened. They were all scared. They all said, even all of you MAGAs listening to me right now, you all said, that's wrong. This has gone too far. That cannot stand. You talk about a unifying event. Again, like a 9/11, January 6th, the entire country came together on January 6th and in one unified voice said, no, no, this is horrible. Oh my God, it's an attack on our democracy. It's an attack on our capital. It's a riot in our capital, the People's House. Every single American was shocked. Every single American felt that this was wrong. Every single American got angry or scared or cried. Point is, we were all unified, all of us, in that this is wrong. This is bad. This has gone way too far. This cannot be. This cannot be. And in fact, damn near every American in that day or two or three or four after January 6th, damn near every American said, Trump, be gone. Donald Trump, look what you did. Donald Trump, be gone with you. Shame on you. Get out of here. Resign. You're fired. Look what you did. Again, I know like we're 4 years removed from it. I'm getting to that. And now we're completely divided on January 6th. All I'm asking you to reach back, though, not that far. That first week after January 6th, even the vast majority of Trump supporters were angry at Trump and said, that's it. I'm done with you. Resign. Look what you did, Donald Trump. Again, at that time, I'm on right-wing talk radio. I'm speaking with and listening to Trump supporters all over the country. This is what they were telling me those first few days after January 6th. This is bad. This is horrible. Trump, I blame you. Trump, get lost. In fact, Bill Ackman, who's some gazillionaire, and he's become a Trump supporter, a big Trump supporter. He supported Trump in this election. Keith, show me that tweet of his. Bill Ackman, now a big supporter of Donald Trump. Bill Ackman on January 6th tweeted to Donald Trump, "It's time for you to resign and apologize to all Americans." Bill Ackman, January 6th, telling Donald Trump to resign, get lost, and apologize to everybody. Bill Ackman now, that would be like Elon Musk saying that 4 years ago. Bill Ackman now is a huge Trump cheerleader. But in that moment, when all of America was united, even Trump supporters like Bill Ackman said, "Donald Trump, look what you did. Resign and apologize to all Americans." Damn near every Republican said that for the first few days after January 6th. Point is, America, weirdly, on January 6th, and for almost a week after January 6th, was completely united. And then, slowly, and then quickly, that all changed. And over the ensuing days and weeks and months and years now, this country is completely divided on January 6th. It happened slowly, and then it happened quickly, and then piece by piece, bit by bit, person by person, group by group, we all then went our separate ways. And we were no longer united. And and I want to focus on why that happened, because the why that happened will instruct us as to why we're so damn divided now. But now, again, over the course of days, weeks, months, years, now almost 4 years, here's where we are. When we all look, here's where America is now, almost 4 years later, when it comes to January 6th. There are 3 groups of Americans. Remember, for a few days after January 6th, there was only one group of Americans. This is bad. This is wrong. This has gone way too far. This cannot be. Donald Trump resign. Every American was there. Even you, MAGA. You know it. Now there are 3 groups of us. 4 years later, almost 4 years later, 3 groups of us. There's the group of Americans that is still where they were the days after January 6th. There's one group of Americans today that still believes that's bad, that's wrong, that went too far. Donald Trump be gone. That was an attack on America. You incited an attack to overthrow an American election. Be gone. We can never do that again, America. There is a group of Americans like myself that has not changed. I feel the same way about January 6th right now that I did the day of January 6th, the day after January 6th. That's one group of Americans. Another group of Americans, 4 years later, looks back at January 6th and says, damn good day. Patriotic day. America fought back that day. A good day. January 6th in American history is a good day. Sure, maybe it went a little too far, a little bit. Maybe a few people went a little bit too far. But then they were patriots. What happened that day, it was an injustice. The 2020 election was stolen. January 6th was a day to right a wrong. It was a good day. Another group of Americans feel that way. And then we have a third group of Americans now, 4 years removed from January 6th, who look back and say, Joe, don't really care. Not a big deal. It wasn't a good day. And shame on the worst rioters who did what they did. But again, look, not a big deal. I'm raising a family. I got a mortgage. I'm trying to make money. And by the way, the border is freaking open, Joe. We got to do something about the border. There's a third group of Americans now, 4 years removed, who say, look back at January 6th and say, Joe, okay, maybe not the greatest of days, but not a big deal. Can we move on? I don't care. So how'd we get there? How'd we, in less than 4 years, get to where we watched something happen in real time that all of us, that scared all of us? And I'm telling you, even the most die-hard MAGA would speak to me in those few days after January 6th, and in tears, they would say to me, Joe, that's it. Trump went too far. This is bad. Even the most hardcore MAGA folk told me that. How'd we get from there to here? We're now where we are, we're divided on January 6th like we're divided on immigration policy. Like now we're just January 6th now is just another policy issue that we throw rocks at each other with. How'd we get there? Or why are we so fucking divided that even an attack on this democracy to overthrow an American election, we divide on that like we divide on policy at the border? I think over days and weeks and months, partisanship took over. In that week after January 6th, when we were all united, we were all Americans. We were all Americans. Just like right after 9/11, when we were hit, we were all Americans. We weren't Republicans and Democrats. We weren't right and left. We weren't liberal and conservative and independent. In that week after January 6th, God damn it, we were all Americans. And then slowly over time, we became Republicans again. We became Democrats again. We became Team Trump again. We became Team Anti-Trump again. We slowly, over days and weeks and months, put party over country. We became partisan again. We joined our team again. Now, media voices helped. Media voices helped, right, to divide us, to get us back to our corners. I mean, that's the story, right? After January 6th, eventually over days, weeks, and months, and then years, we went back to our partisan corners. The media helped us get there. Our partisan voices helped us get there. That day or two or three after January 6th, even Sean freaking Hannity was pissed, upset, scared, and angry at Trump. Even Hannity was. But then Hannity and all the rest realized where their bread was buttered, and they slowly assumed their position of being partisan, divisive media voices. Because to do well, to make money, Hannity couldn't talk about then. He could for a couple days, but then a week or two or three after January 6th, Hannity can't talk about bringing the two sides together and bringing the country together, and this is wrong. Hannity's got to preach to his folks, and Hannity's got to say, Democrats are bad. Democrats are bad. The deep state was behind January 6th. It was left-wing rioters. It was people who hated Trump who were behind January 6th. Hannity's got to get his right wing riled up. And that's what so many media voices did. They preached to their audience because their job, and this goes across the board, right? The job of the media is to inflame both sides and get your side pissed off at the other side. And eventually, because that's how you get paid, that's how you do well. I come from right-wing media. That's how it works. So eventually, the media voices, the podcast voices, all the places that we go to get informed or to get our beliefs confirmed, they, over time, facilitated the divide. One important element here was, and this needs to be said, one of the reasons we're so divided in this country is because none of us admit when we're wrong. None of us admit when we've screwed up. None of us admit when we made a mistake. None of our public figures do, because we tend not to reward public figures who say, my bad, I was wrong, I resign. It's like there's no shame. Donald Trump is the poster child for this. Donald Trump specifically created January 6th. But because Donald Trump has no shame, Donald Trump has never had any shame. Donald Trump is incapable of human shame. Donald Trump never apologized for January 6th. Donald Trump never said, oh my God, look what my lies did. Look what I incited. Oh my God, I was wrong. America, I'm sorry. Folks, even my supporters, this is bad. Trump never did any of that. So because he never said he did anything wrong, and then after a few weeks, Trump began to fight back, his supporters followed his lead. His supporters in the media and his voters then began to follow his lead. How different it would have been, right? In another time, in other countries where leaders actually feel shame, like I've done wrong, I need to be held accountable, I resign. There are leaders in other countries who do that when they've done wrong. There were leaders in America who did that in another time when they did wrong. How different it would have been if Trump had resigned. I'm sorry, America. Look what I did. This can never happen again. Trying to overthrow an American election, I caused this. I resign. That didn't happen. And then finally, we all reverted back to our comfortable spaces. We all reverted back to our bubbles where we are around people who think like we do, who believe the same things we believe. So January 6th made some people uncomfortable. January 6th made Trump supporters uncomfortable. So as they were scared that first week, they began to think about, well, what I believe couldn't have caused this. Maybe there were problems with the election. Maybe Trump was right to say it was stolen. And I heard on Fox News the other day, this guy said this about January 6th. Maybe the left was behind January 6th. Maybe the FBI was behind it. Maybe it was an inside job. I believe in the deep state, so that all makes a lot of sense to me. So the right went back to their bubble, where everything that Trump had taught them to believe about the deep state, about the left, about rigged elections, made them comfortable. And that's where they wanted to be, because to be in a place where what you believe is challenged, that's to be in a scary place. And so slowly over time, all of us, especially the right, but all of those other people who today look back at January 6th and just kind of shrug their shoulders, Joe, ah, it's too uncomfortable to really think about what January 6th was. It's too uncomfortable to go back and think about how you felt on January 6th, on January 7th, on January 8th. It's scary. It's much easier just let me live my life. I got my beliefs, let me live my life. Most everyone reverted back over time to what they believe. Two final thoughts. How do we fix this? I'll get to that in a second. But this point, when people look back on, if 200 years from now, people look back on America and try to pinpoint the time that broke us, the time that permanently ended us as a unified country, you could look back at the last few years, at the point where we became divided as a people, even over something as nonpartisan as January 6th. The fact that we became divided on something that all of us knew was wrong and bad, but the fact that we even divided over that, over weeks, months, and a few years, the fact that that couldn't keep us together, united that this is wrong, this went too far. The fact that that couldn't keep us together. I'm not talking about should we give money to Ukraine. I'm not talking about should we give amnesty to the children of people who came to this country illegally. I'm not talking about what our tax rates should be. I'm talking about a violent attempt to overthrow an American election is a really bad thing. I'm an American. Can we all agree that that's a bad thing? The fact that even that we can't agree on, history will look back and say, well, if they couldn't agree on that, if that divided them, then they had no hope. What do we do? Using this January 6th case study, what do we do? How do we fix this divide? The easiest top line answer is it's on us. Our politicians are not going to do anything about the divide in this country. They are not incentivized to. I was a politician. They're incentivized to win elections. And the way they win elections is to piss you off and tell you that the other side is bad. That's how they win elections. They're going to keep doing that. So politicians ain't going to lead us out of the wilderness. The folks we listen to in the media, MSNBC, Fox, and damn near everybody, they're not going to lead us out of this divided wilderness because they're incentivized to keep us divided. They're incentivized to keep us at each other's throats. They're incentivized to outrage us and say the other side is bad. I couldn't start a show on Fox News or CNN tomorrow talking about bringing the country together. Who'd watch that show? No, it's us. And that makes sense, right? Of the people, by the people, for the people, this is on us. If the country's too dangerously divided, and if we stay this dangerously divided, the country may not stay together. It's on us. We're the only ones who can fix it. And I just always firmly believe this. I am a broken record. The way that we cure, fix, heal the divide in this country is we have to stay informed. We have to be better informed. We have to get engaged. We have to not be afraid. And we have to admit when we are wrong and when our side is wrong. We've got to be informed. We got to get out of our bubbles. If you are a Trump supporter, you have to listen to smart takes on the other side. If you think, as I think, that Donald Trump is an existential threat to this country, you need to hear smart takes on the other side. Only listening to people who think like you just doesn't make you any smarter. It doesn't make you more informed. So yeah, we got to get out of our information bubbles. We got to do a better job of sifting out the lies and the bullshit that they all tell us. Trump lies to us. Joe Biden lies to us. We've got to be smart enough to see the lies, and we have to be honest enough to admit when someone on our side is lying to us. We can't be afraid. I know it's so much easier to only listen to and hear from people who think like you, right? Because that confirms everything you want to believe. But we got to get over our fears. You got to challenge your beliefs. You've got to be courageous enough to have what you believe challenged. By the way, I know this is no great insight. I'm giving you the doctor's medicine that we're all kind of intuitively aware of. We got to be more informed. We've got to follow facts and the truth. We got to get engaged. We can't quit. We got to stay in the game. We got to participate. We got to be engaged. I'm telling you everything we got to do. We can't be afraid to have our beliefs challenged, right? This is all the medicine that most of us don't want to take right now. Finally, we have to admit when we're wrong. We have to admit when we're wrong. We have to admit when our side is wrong. Now, I believe Joe Biden was really, really wrong to pardon his son, Hunter. And I've said that repeatedly and very publicly the last couple of days. And wouldn't you know it, most Democrats just give me the middle finger. By the way, MAGA, whenever I criticize Trump, MAGA gives me the middle finger. Huh? I believe Biden was wrong. And I know there are a lot of Democrats who believe what Biden did was wrong. You got to be able to say that. As I know, there are a lot of Trump supporters who, when Trump does things that they think are wrong, they don't say it. You have to be able to admit when your side is wrong. Because if it's my side, no matter what, my side come hell or high water, you won't do anything about the divide in this country. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, Facebook. Thanks for listening. Just a little, just something to think about, just something to chew on this Tuesday. I'm always blown away, and I'll close right now, right here with this. I'm always blown away by the shift on January 6th. It wasn't that long ago. And for a one shining moment, you reach for the stars. For one brief moment there in time, every American was united. Just like for a brief moment after 9/11, every American was united. Think about what pulled us apart and take lessons from it. If you care about, only if you care about. If you don't, fine. Stop singing. They used to play that song after the NCAA basketball championship game every year. One shining moment. Think about that. And if you don't want this country, if you don't want us at each other's throats, we got to work on how to fix it then. So do some soul searching. Thanks for listening. My email, joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. All one word, joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. Have a good week, everybody. Be brave. TikTok, be brave.
Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.